Yo, what's up, all you burner stoners and potheads? This is Weedman420 with the Weedman420 Chronicles. How are all you vipers doing out there, Mrs. Weedman?
Mr. Weedman.
How the hell are you?
Fantastic.
I love it. Hey, all you vipers out there in the world. Hopefully you're smoking some big fat doinks while you're listening to the show. Mrs. Weedman and I are about to get normal, but before we do, Mrs. Weedman and I will be covering the latest cannabis research, science, health, political news, international news, and then Mrs. Weedman will end it with some cannabis culture. Got some great stuff for you today, so stick around and listen. Now, let's get normal with some Double Delight grown by the art of genetics. And Double Delight is a recently released and somewhat mysterious hybrid with indica-leaning genetics, an amazing flavor profile of Oreos and Platinum Kush Breath No. 5 as direct ancestors. When it comes to the aroma and flavor, Double Delight brings in many delights of sweet cookie-like notes and some faint vanilla infused with some gas. You're in for an intense high that needs only a few moments to cause happy thoughts, giggles, and the feeling of deep relaxation, accumulating in the semi-couch lock state that can induce sleepiness if you let it. Medical usage of this strain is mainly aimed at alleviating chronic stress, insomnia, and depressive tendencies, although it can induce munchies.
Oh, great.
Mrs. Weedman's favorite.
An excuse to eat.
It says induce appetite, but I figured I'd say munchies instead. And while I'm going to smoke, Mrs. Weedman's going to tell you a little bit about 8decades.com.
Yes, you can head over to 8decades.com. That is 8, the word, not the number. Well, the number, but spelled out. 8decades.com is where you're going to find our cannabis lifestyle brand. Mr. Weedman and I developed a smoke set. It's all stainless steel. It's intended to be your forever smoke set. We've got beautiful storage jars for your flower and your edibles and all of your goodies. We have steam rollers, hemp clothing from Young Maven, and we also have Weedman420 swags. So head on over to 8decades.com, sign up for our newsletter, and you will get free shipping on your first order. And you going to our website and making a purchase helps us continue doing the show.
As we always say, by supporting the cause, we get to pay our producer, Shoddy.
That's right.
Very nice.
Smooth.
Got a little hint of that vanilla. Little hint, or maybe like maybe vanilla, maybe like more like a bakery type baked good, like in a good way.
Yeah.
You know, vanilla, kind of soft, faint hint of it, but a really nice smooth smoke. That first couple of hits, really nice. Looking forward to smoking more of it. So, I was reading something, and this is kind of funny because, well, prostate cancer awareness isn't funny.
No.
But
well, I mean, awareness could be funny.
Yeah, it could. Well, this
like this guy.
This awareness is very funny. So, you know what this movement needs? It needs, prostate cancer where it needs more horsepower, right? It needs to get the going, and somehow some less common sense. So this guy over in England, this 50-year-old strongman named John Stevenson, decided to raise awareness for prostate cancer by pulling a 2-ton police car 131 feet. Do you want to guess how he pulled it?
How heavy was the car?
It was a 2-ton police car.
And he pulled it how far?
131 feet.
Okay.
Do you want to know how he pulled it and with what?
Yeah. Tell me.
His penis.
Come on. It didn't fall off?
His penis.
His penis?
And because
how did that happen?
Apparently it wasn't dramatic enough, he did it while he was on fire.
Oh, that double whammy. So if you haven't seen enough, you've definitely seen enough.
You're all probably out there listening saying, Mr. Weedman, sounds a little bit questionable.
Yeah.
Let me assure you.
This was in public?
Let me assure you, yes, it was. You're absolutely fucking correct. Stevenson completing this stunt in Halifax, England, in front of a bunch of his confused neighbors who were probably trying just to enjoy their coffee and suddenly witness what looked like the world's weirdest superhero origin story. According to him, the whole thing hurt quite a bit.
Super penis man.
Which he may be the understatement of the year. Come on, you're pulling a 2-ton police car, 131 feet. But get this.
Is there a photo?
I'd have to look.
I
think there is one, but with his back
I'm guessing
turned.
like he has some sort of contraption on his penis. You'd pull your penis off.
Yes, they're showing him on fire But you only see his back with the rope attached to his nether regions.
He just tied a rope around the shit and
they
started
don't
pulling?
show it. They don't show it.
Is that real? Could you do that?
Could I do that?
Well, I mean, could any man do that?
I mean, depending how strong your penis is.
I always say, like, don't you get like nauseous when you run around?
I mean, I'm not going to say I didn't hang a weight from my penis one time just to see how strong it really was. 10-pound weight, and it held.
Did it do chin-ups?
No, I raised it up and down.
All right, sharing too much information.
Now, here, wait.
Let's not forget that we're recording a public podcast.
But this isn't for kids.
I'm just saying. Like.
So he basically, get this. This wasn't his first bizarre stunt, though. This dude apparently pulled a car with his testicles before and also pulled a car while he was on fire.
Oh.
But separate.
So now he combined it all.
He combined it, made it a little more like crazy.
I'm going to go wild.
So naturally, he goes, why not combine both? So no jokes aside, though, there's actually a serious reason behind all this madness. Stevenson wanted to raise awareness for prostate cancer and men's health, bullying, prevention, and even raising money for families dealing with childhood cancer. Prostate cancer is one of the most common cancers affecting men, and early detection can make a massive difference while you're pulling a police car with your penis. Totally helps.
Totally.
So as wild as this sounds, there's a real message behind this madness. You ready? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So still, though, I got to ask everyone out there, what meeting led to this plan, Mrs. Weedman? So here's how it went. Hey, Mrs. Weedman, how do we get people talking about prostate cancer? Well, Mr. Weedman, I got an idea. But you're going to want to sit down for this one. And somewhere in England, a firefighter definitely said, this is not what I trained for. So imagine you sitting me down going, hey, Mr. Weedman.
We're going to have a serious conversation
about
right now.
Prostate cancer.
I got a plan.
Yeah, we're going to raise awareness.
Or I got a plan for you. This will get some attention.
This will get us some likes.
Yeah. Oh my God. Is that what we've become? Whores for likes. Willing to rip off your penis for a like.
So there's a moral of this story, though.
That's not really what it's all about.
No.
I mean, he was really trying to raise some money.
Yeah.
Did he raise a lot of money?
I didn't say. It just said he was sore for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, he probably broke his
There's a moral to this, though.
stuff.
Take care of your health, but maybe choose awareness campaigns that don't involve lighter fluid and your family jewels.
Yeah. I agree with that. I agree. I hope he raised a lot of money, and I hope his penis is okay.
Oh, man. Talking about stretch to the ground after that,
Ouch. Huh? Gross. Dragging alongside of him.
Next time he
has to buy three-legged pants.
Or long socks. He had to sew some socks together.
He just tapes it to his leg. Why is that leg always
I don't know if this person's married or not, but imagine coming home after that and you get undressed in front of your partner, and all of a sudden they look like, what the fuck happened to you?
It looks like a fire hose. You got to roll it up and tuck it in.
Oh, shit. Sorry, it's the butt of some jokes, but it is kind of funny, though. Not prostate cancer.
That's bizarre.
The testicle one, though. Whoo.
Ouch.
Oh, man. I mean, a penis can stretch, but testicles, no bueno.
No bueno.
Oh, my God. Imagine if it snapped back.
Whoa.
Oh, shit. Man, I don't know. But things have been going good. How about you, Miss Weedman? Everything good?
Everything's great, Mr. Weedman.
I love it. You ready to get the show started?
I'm ready.
Let's do this. All right, cannabis fam. Let's talk about something that gets debated all the time, especially by people who don't consume cannabis. Does weed make people more aggressive, or does it actually chill people out? Today's research comes from the Journal of Psychopharmacology, and the study is called Subjective Aggression During Alcohol and Cannabis Intoxication, Before and After Aggression Exposure. And honestly, the findings were pretty interesting. Researchers wanted to compare how alcohol and cannabis affect aggression, especially after people were put into situations designed to intentionally annoy or provoke them. Basically, they scientifically tested whether people got meaner after drinking or smoking. Now, the study looked at 61 young adults between the ages of 18 and 28. They split participants into 3 groups: heavy alcohol users, regular cannabis users, and a control group of non-drug users. The alcohol users were given either alcohol or placebo drink. Cannabis users were given either cannabis or placebo cannabis through a vaporizer. Then researchers exposed participants in situations meant to trigger aggressive feelings, kind of like intentionally poking the bear to see what happens. And honestly, this sounds like every bad Thanksgiving dinner ever. The researchers used two different tests. One involved showing aggressive images and word associations to see how people emotionally reacted to aggression. The second was basically a frustrating money game where participants believed another person was stealing money from them, designed specifically to provoke irritation and aggressive response. So, what happened? First, when everyone was sober, aggression increased after the frustrating task across all groups. It's actually pretty normal. If somebody annoys you, frustrates you, or pushes your buttons, people tend to feel at least a little more irritated. No surprise there. But here's where things got really interesting. When alcohol users were actually intoxicated, their feelings of aggression went up. Researchers found that people who drank alcohol reported feeling more aggressive after provocation. And they were also more likely to make aggressive choices during the study's behavioral test. Basically, alcohol made people more likely to emotionally lean into aggression. Now, before anybody listening says, well, yeah, we've all seen somebody start drama after too many drinks, the science actually backs that up here. The study points out that alcohol has long been linked to what researchers call intoxicated aggression, especially during heavy drinking episodes. But, and this matters, not everybody becomes aggressive while drinking. Researchers stress it usually is a minority of people. And things like personality and environment, how much alcohol somebody consumes matter a lot. Now let's talk cannabis. When regular cannabis users consumed cannabis, researchers found the opposite effect. Instead of becoming more aggressive, cannabis users actually reported lower feelings of aggression after being provoked compared to placebo. Even more interesting, during the behavioral test, cannabis users made fewer aggressive responses. In simple terms, the cannabis group became less likely to react aggressively when irritated. So when alcohol seemed to turn up the volume on aggression, cannabis appeared to turn down the dial. And honestly, have you ever seen somebody spend 20 minutes looking for a lighter? They're already holding it. Reduced aggression. Probably isn't the most shocking scientific discovery. How many times has that happened to you, Mrs. Weedman?
All the time.
All the time where you're looking for a lighter next notes in your hand?
Or my phone, or my keys. The phone is a usual suspect.
Oh, where was I? And this is important. Researchers were careful not to overstate things. The study looked at regular cannabis users, not first-time consumers, and sample size was fairly small. Researchers also only tested one cannabis dose and one alcohol dose, meaning the results could look different when stronger products, different people, or different situations. They also looked at hormones linked to aggression, like testosterone and cortisol, to see if those people explain the behavior exchanges. But interestingly, hormone changes didn't strongly match aggressive levels, meaning the emotional effects may be happening through different mechanisms in the brain. At the end of the day, the study came to a pretty clear conclusion. Alcohol increased feelings of aggression after provocation, while cannabis reduced aggressive feelings in regular users. Now, does that mean cannabis magically makes everybody peaceful? No. And does it mean alcohol automatically turns people into angry bar fighters? Also no. Us humans are complicated. But according to this research, when people are pushed, irritated, or provoked, alcohol tended to fuel aggression, while cannabis seemed to cool it down. So, takeaway, if somebody's trying to start drama at the cookout, science suggests the person double fisting whiskey might be the bigger concern than the person quietly staring at the snack table, wondering if chips count as dinner. All right, Ms. Weedman.
Yep.
Tell us why us older adults are using marijuana as an alternative to pharmaceuticals. This is a federally funded study from the American Medical Association.
Yeah, big deal.
Big time.
Real deal.
Tell us about it,
Real
Ms.
deal.
Weedman.
This is from Marijuana Moment. Tonight's story is all about a group that's quietly becoming one of cannabis's fastest growing fan bases, older adults. And no, grandma isn't necessarily rolling up to relive Woodstock. Most are turning to cannabis because they're frustrated with traditional medications. According to a new federally funded study highlighted by Marijuana Moment, Adults age 60 and older are increasingly using cannabis as an alternative for pharmaceuticals, especially for issues tied to aging, like pain, sleep problems, and mental health concerns. The study, published in JAMA Network Open and backed by the National Institutes of Health, looked at 169 adults over age 60 between 2021 and 2023 who were actively exploring cannabis options. And researchers found that a major reason older adults are turning to cannabis is their concern over side effects, dependency, and long-term health impacts of prescription medications. Many participants said they felt traditional pharmaceutical options weren't working anymore, or they came with too many drawbacks. Others felt like they had tried everything, physical therapy, acupuncture, massage, and saw cannabis as more of a last stop on the road to relief. Now, here's where numbers get interesting. The top reason seniors wanted to try cannabis? 57% for sleep issues, 50% of them for pain management, and 25% for mental health concerns. Researchers said most participants weren't chasing a heavy high. They were chasing a better quality of life, better sleep, less discomfort, and more ability to enjoy time with family and friends. Those all ranked high on their motivation list. And when it came to product choice, combination products ruled the day. 58% chose a combo THC CBD edible, 29% preferred CBD-dominant products of any type, and 14% picked THC-dominant options. That tells us that many older adults appear to be looking for balance and symptom relief, not couch-locked or blast-off mode. Their biggest concern with THC is getting too impaired or accidentally overdoing it. Researchers also pointed out something important, that many older adults are making cannabis decisions based on friends, media, and word of mouth, not necessarily conversations with their doctor. And that's a big gap, because while cannabis may help some people, experts always push for safety first. Talk to your doctor because you don't want to have interactions to medications or sensitivities to THC. The study authors say, of course, we really need more education for both the patients and the doctors. So the bottom line is that older Americans are increasingly choosing cannabis, not to party, but just to feel better. And as legalization, right? As legalization spreads and stigmas drop, the conversation around aging and cannabis is only getting louder. Grandma might not steal your stash, but she could be asking, hey, where'd you get those gummies?
I don't see many old people like going, I'm using cannabis to go to a rave tonight.
No.
Yeah.
No.
We do, but not many anymore.
No, not many.
Yeah. Oh, but I mean, like I said, the two fastest growing segments of the industry are 60 and up and Gen Z women. So I mean, there's a reason.
Well, there's just so many different types of uses and reasons why people consume, reasons why people should consume, and it's trial and error. So it's just, the world is your oyster. You have to find, if you've decided you want to use cannabis and you want to use CBD products, you just have to find your recipe. You have to find what works for you and your body. You and your spouse aren't going to necessarily, like, we always smoke the same things, but I smoke more frequently. I've been adding CBG into mine. Like, we do a little bit of different stuff during the day, and then we usually share the same smoke at night.
Yeah, at night is the same.
Yeah.
I
but
mean,
it's a different, not everything responds to both of us the same way.
Yep. Oh, absolutely.
So
like last night,
it is unique.
I responded crazy last night to the weed I smoked. I was an emotional wreck. And Mrs. Weedman was the calming, soothing, helping Mr. Weedman. Yeah, I was having a moment last night. Woo! So we won't go into it, but yeah, I was having a moment. Just sometimes shit happens, in life, and you just, shit happens in life. Not everything is always going to be fucking puppy dogs and ice cream and candy and ponytails and stuff like that. Sometimes, you eat a lemon and your face gets sour, or sometimes you eat a little shit. It sucks. It does. And sometimes you fucking you get the world to hit you with everything at once, and you look at it and you're just like, holy fuck, I'm having a fucking meltdown right now. It happens to all of us. I've been there. It's not my first time in life, and it's probably not going to be my last. But sometimes when life hits you and the world hits you in certain ways, and you're just like, you just fucking lose it for a second, but then you come back.
Yes.
So, and if that ever happens to any of you out there, try not to do it alone. It's not easy being in that mindset if you're alone.
Oh,
yeah.
Everybody needs support.
Somebody
Even those of us who don't.
lean on.
I mean, we talk about this all the time. I mean, we're kind of going way off subject right now, but there's people in the world that are really good at delegating things. There's people that are great at being leaders. There's people who are awful at being leaders, but they're great educators. There's all makes and models. And I'm stoned and I don't know where I was going with any of this. Oh, don't be alone.
Yes.
So I am one of those people that doesn't know how to ask for help. I've been doing a lot of self-reflection and personal work and therapy. And I'm like, these things I knew about myself, I'm learning more about the whys, right? And I just don't know how to ask for help. That's just how it is. I'm a lone ranger. I do things really well independently. I love to socialize, but I like to be alone. And so if I get into a dark space with thinking and I just don't know how to seek help or tell somebody that I'm feeling that way. And I think that what Mr. Weedman is saying is, you really do need to lean on. Like, we all need somebody. And people really do genuinely care, and people are always there to help. There's always somebody.
Yep.
Even if it's a complete stranger.
Yep.
If it's a hotline that you have to call. That person on the other end of the hotline has decided to be in that seat to answer that call because they care. They're not there because someone forced them to be there. It's a volunteer most often, and they have words and tools to help you through that time. So if you are ever in a dark space, if you are just feeling like you're in a rough patch of life and you can't get through it and you're really struggling, just reach out, find somebody and talk.
Yep, absolutely.
People want to help you.
There are people out there that care.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, Ms. Weedman.
Sure.
I appreciate you for caring last night.
I don't know where that came from, but
hey, it's all right. This next story is for everybody who has ever looked at a pile of trim leaves after a harvest and thought, well, gets that it's just compost now. Not Mr. Weedman. Do you know why, Mrs. Weedman? Because there's angels in those leaves. And I've juiced plenty of leaves for my trim. So it turns out science might be saying, hold up a minute. Today's research comes from science in the Stellenbosch University in South Africa, and it was recently highlighted by Earth.com. Researchers discovered that cannabis leaves, the part many growers and processors often toss aside, contain rare compounds that may have future medical potential. Now, most cannabis conversations focus on the big stars of the plant, THC and CBD. The compounds everybody talks about when discussing getting elevated pain relief, sleep, anxiety, or medical use. But researchers say cannabis is actually way more chemically complex than people realize. In this study, scientists analyzed cannabis flower and leaf material from 3 commercial cannabis strains and identified 79 different plant compounds, including 25 compounds never before reported in cannabis. That's banging. But here's where things got really interesting. Researchers found 16 rare compounds called flavoalkaloids, which we've talked about on the show before, hiding mainly in the leaves of one cannabis strain. Now, I know what some of you are all thinking. Mr. Weedman, what in the terpy wizard science is a flavoalkaloid? Fair question, everybody. Flavoalkaloids are extremely rare plant chemicals that combine properties of flavonoids, natural compounds linked to color, plant defense, and antioxidant activity, with alkaloids compounds found in plants that often affect biology in powerful ways. Scientists say these compounds are incredibly uncommon in nature, which makes the discovery a pretty big deal. And here's why research got excited. Compounds similar to these are often studied for things like anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, and possible anti-cancer properties. Now, and this is really important, before somebody clips fan leaves off their grow and throw them in a smoothie, like Mr. Weedman does, this does not mean cannabis leaves are suddenly proven medicine. Researchers were very careful about that. The scientists did not test these compounds in humans, animals, or even disease models yet. They only identify that these rare chemicals appear to exist in cannabis leaves. In other words, this is early discovery science, net medical proof. Nobody's saying leaves cure anything. Well, Mr. Weedman believes there's angels in those leaves, so hopefully the research follows through. What scientists are saying is this: there may be more happening inside the cannabis plant than we ever understood so far. And honestly, that's not shocking to longtime growers. Cannabis has always been one of those plants where every strain acts a little differently, smells differently, grows differently, and hits people differently. According to the researchers, even among just 3 strains, chemical profiles varied a lot. One strain showed strong signals for rare compounds, while the others looked very different. That means not all cannabis is created equal. One plant may carry compounds another barely has. And for breeders, cultivators, and medical researchers, that opens up some really interesting possibilities. Imagine a future where breeders aren't just selecting for THC percentages or terpene profiles. Haven't we talked about this before? But for rare medical compounds hidden in leaves that used to get thrown away. Suddenly, trim day might feel less like yard work and more like treasure hunting. Researchers even suggested that parts of the plant often treated as waste material could someday become valuable for pharmaceutical or biomedical research. Now, the internet's being the internet. Some people online instantly jump to say, see, weed cures everything. And scientists basically said, pump the brakes. Even the researchers admitted these compounds were only tentatively identified, meaning more testing is needed to confirm exactly what they are and what they actually do inside the body. I believe weed will change the world, but, research. So, the takeaway. The cannabis plant might still be holding secrets. Science just found a rare compounds hiding in leaves most people ignore, and while nobody's claiming miracle medicine yet, this research shows we may have only scratched the surface of what this plant can do, which honestly means your trim bin might be smarter than we thought. Yes, don't throw away your trim. Use it. Juice it. My dog loves a leaf every once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
Use it. Use it for something, anything. Ms. Weedman.
Mr. Weedman.
Microdosing.
Yeah.
Cannabis microdosing is more common than psychedelics among U.S. adults. This is another big one. National survey finds. Tell us
How about that? This is out of the University of California, San Diego. Tonight's story takes us into the world of microdosing, but not the psychedelic kind that most people think of. A new national survey says that cannabis, not mushrooms or LSD, is actually America's most commonly microdosed substance. Yep. People are apparently taking just a little weed on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
According to researchers at the University of California, San Diego, about 9.4% of U.S. adults, roughly 24.1 million people, say they've microdosed cannabis at least once in their lives. That made cannabis microdosing nearly twice as common as psychedelics like psilocybin mushrooms at only 5.3% and LSD at 4.8%, while MDMA is just at 2.2%. The findings were published in the American Journal of Preventive Medicine after researchers analyzed survey responses from 1,525 U.S. adults collected through a nationally representative panel. If you're wondering what microdosing even means, researchers define it as taking a very small amount, typically 1/5 to 1/20th of a normal recreational dose, with the goal of getting subtle effects without feeling fully intoxicated. Think of it like a dose that will just take the edge off. For cannabis users, this often means low-dose THC products designed to help with mood, stress, or focus while staying functional. One of the more interesting takeaways, microdosing cannabis was often tied to medical symptoms, with people reporting using it for things like anxiety, depression, and chronic pain. Meanwhile, psychedelics like psilocybin and LSD were more commonly microdosed for recreational purposes or for milder altered experiences. Researchers said this challenges the popular idea that microdosing is mostly a psychedelic trend. As it turns out, cannabis users have quietly been doing their own version for years. The study also found a connection to mental health. People who rated their mental health as poor reported microdosing at much higher rates. And researchers were also quick to point out that cannabis microdosing it doesn't prove that microdosing improves mental health, but there is a relationship there. So there have been a lot of people that have been doing both microdosing of cannabis and psilocybin, really, for mental health, like it's supposed to do a reset.
Right.
But before anyone hears this and starts cutting gummies into microscopic crumbs, the researchers also added an important reality check. Clinical studies on microdosing remain limited, and evidence on benefits is still mixed. Because many products are unregulated, dosing errors and mislabeled products are also a concern, especially when people are experimenting without guidance. So, Americans, they seem increasingly interested in getting the benefits of cannabis without getting completely blasted. Maybe the future of cannabis isn't always bigger hits, stronger strains. Maybe for some folks, it's enough just to take the edge off and still remember why they walked into the kitchen.
I like psychedelics. I love weed. Psychedelics is a good thing too. I never truly really microdosed LSD though, or MDMA.
No.
I just did it. I never microdosed. I've microdosed shrooms before.
Yeah.
1 gram, and you get a nice little clarity of head, but I'm not a microdoser. I'm all in.
No, if you're going to do it, you're just going to do it.
Fucking do it.
Do it. Do it.
Political state and business news. The White House is raising concerns over high-potency marijuana products, especially how they market it to younger audiences in its newest national drug strategy. Officials say stronger THC levels may increase health risk and want more focus on education and prevention. Sounds like somebody in D.C. just discovered dispensary menus and immediately panicked like they accidentally ate a 100 milligram gummy. Bipartisan senators reacted to Trump's latest marijuana move, with one Republican senator openly saying she has friends who use cannabis medically. Oh, yay! That's a shift from the old reefer madness crowd. Politics around weed keep getting weirder. 1 minute it's a gateway drug. The next, Aunt Linda's arthritis cream is bipartisan. An alcohol industry group is frustrated with Congress for failing to address hemp-derived THC products in the Farm Bill. With intoxicating hemp drinks and gummies booming nationwide, they're asking lawmakers to clear rules. Somewhere, beer executives are nervously eyeing THC seltzers like, wait, y'all can't get relaxed without a hangover. The Illinois Department of Agriculture released updates detailing new cannabis and hemp rules changes, including licensing, testing, and operational guidance for businesses. Regulators say the updates are meant to improve consistency and compliance. Translation, Mrs. Weedman? Paperwork just got a fresh strain called Government Kush. Heavy notes of confusion with a long, bureaucratic finish. A new bill in North Carolina could allow voters to decide whether cannabis legalization should move forward in the state instead of lawmakers making the call alone. That's right, give it to the people. Residents may get a direct say at the ballot box. Nothing says democracy kind of like arguing about weed legalization next to somebody's buying pork rinds and lottery tickets. Major cannabis companies are facing a lawsuit allegedly questionable business practices tied to industry operations. The case could shine a spotlight on how some large cannabis corporations operate behind the scenes. Just a reminder, folks, not every company selling premium vibes is necessarily running on premium ethics. South Carolina GOP senator says medical marijuana is effectively legal now, while Republican governor candidates still call cannabis a gateway drug. Yep, same state, 2 totally different vibes. Cannabis politics nowadays feels like family dinner arguments. Someone's talking medicine, while someone else still thinks jazz music caused society to collapse. Marijuana opponents have filed a lawsuit trying to stop the Trump administration. Federal cannabis rescheduling effort. Critics argued the move isn't legally justified, while supporters say reform is long overdue. At this point, cannabis reform moves slower than stoner trying to decide what snack they actually want. Illinois officials have extended the application deadline for craft grow Group 2 licenses, giving applications more time to complete paperwork and requirements. Good news for hopeful cultivators trying to break into the legal market. Because if there's one thing harder than growing good flower, it's surviving government deadlines. Florida Republican governors candidates appear united in opposing marijuana legalization, keeping prohibition messaging alive in the Sunshine State. Despite growing public support, candidates are sticking to a firm anti-legalization stance. Florida politics stay wild, medical weed's okay, but apparently full legalization is still scarier than wrestling an alligator barefoot. The Idaho Medical Cannabis Act received over 150,000 signatures and officially are now verifying them to determine if voters still get the chance to weigh in. In Idaho, that's a pretty big moment for cannabis reform. Imagine collecting signatures in potato country. Want legal weed? Only if it pairs with fries. An Arizona activist has dropped an effort to repeal the state's legal cannabis market, ending a push that could have rolled legalization backwards. Supporters of legal cannabis see it as a win for stability in the market. Looks like Arizona said, we already bought the grinder. We're not going backwards now. Now I'm passing the joint over to you, Mrs. Weedman.
Yeah, I've got some more political, state, and business news. Starting off with Target, they're expanding sales of hemp-derived beverages into Florida, Texas, and Illinois, giving THC drinks even more mainstream
They got end caps.
shelf space.
End
That's
caps
crazy.
in Target. I saw
It's
online.
nuts. Cannabis-adjacent products are clearly going more corporate. Honestly, ladies, nothing says times have changed like grabbing candles, laundry soap, and a THC mocktail all on the same Target run. In Texas, hemp businesses are facing uncertainty as lawmakers continue debating restrictions and regulations around intoxicating hemp products. Companies say mixed messaging is creating confusion for consumers and businesses alike. They're right. Texas politics sound like dating apps where everybody says one thing means another and nobody knows where the relationship stands. A new congressional report explains what Trump's marijuana rescheduling move could actually mean for consumers and the cannabis industry. While reform could ease some restrictions, cannabis would still face legal limitations federally. Basically, Washington said, we'll make it slightly less complicated while somehow still keeping it complicated. The Trump administration says it has found new legal authority to crack down on intoxicating hemp products, potentially shaking up the booming hemp-derived THC market. Businesses are now watching closely for enforcement changes. Connecticut lawmakers reinstated a cap on THC levels in legal cannabis flower after pushback from regulators and community concerns. Supporters say it's about safety, while critics worry consumers lose options. The Massachusetts Supreme Court is hearing arguments over a proposed effort that critics say could roll back parts of marijuana legalization. Supporters and opponents are battling over voter rights and cannabis policy. At this point, cannabis feels like a changing hairstyle. Just when you figure it out, you decide you want bangs again. Cannabis businesses may qualify for retroactive 280E tax relief, potentially saving companies serious money if federal policy changes line up correctly. Industry operators are being encouraged to review eligibility carefully. We all know nothing gets business owners more excited than hearing the words, possible tax relief. Washington, D.C.'s cannabis scene is evolving into a wellness and social culture with infused events, curated experiences, and community-focused gatherings becoming increasingly popular. Weed culture is leveling up and it's giving self-care vibes with candles, comfy clothes, deep conversations, all while being elevated.
Nice.
A California bill allowing drive-through marijuana dispensaries is advancing, potentially making cannabis purchases even more convenient. Supporters say it improves access, while critics have concerns about safety. I don't know why. Why would it be any different? Coffee, groceries, pharmacy. I mean, why not add pre-rolls to a drive-through schedule? It just makes sense.
They took my idea.
Yeah. The White House drug czar clarified that marijuana remains federally illegal, even with Trump's rescheduling move. So while things may be changing, cannabis is still not fully legal nationwide, leaving the government's relationship status with weed officially, it's complicated.
If you heard Yuki over there too, she felt the same way.
Yeah. Some cannabis reform advocates say Trump's marijuana rescheduling move is a positive step, but still falls short of the larger reform the industry actually needs. Supporters say progress matters, but there's more work ahead. Kind of like cleaning the house. You handle one room, but there's still a whole lot of work to be done. Back over to you, Mr. Weedman.
Thanks, Mrs. Weedman. Illinois officials released updated guidance on child-resistant cannabis packaging and sealing requirements, aiming to improve safety, compliance for products sold statewide. Businesses will still need to follow tighter standards on packaging and storage, because apparently even the weed container now needs more security than my phone password. A congresswoman pledged support for Virginia hemp farmers as possible federal THC product bans, and changing marijuana laws create uncertainty for growers. Farmers say stability is badly needed to plan ahead. Hemp growers right now are basically checking policy updates like weather reports. Chance of chaos, 90%. The Arkansas Medical Marijuana Commission renewed cultivation dispensary license, helping keep the state medical program moving forward. Regulators say oversight remains important as the market develops. New research published in a medical journal explained cannabis use and patient health outcomes, adding to growing conversations around cannabis and healthcare treatment. Researchers continue looking at both benefits and potential risks for consumers. Science and weed are having a long relationship now, still learning each other's red flags. A new ATF firearm form reportedly recognizes medical marijuana federally legal status under Trump's rescheduling move, potentially changing how cannabis consumers are treated in certain legal situations. It's a major shift if it sticks. Government's paperwork updating for weed, somewhere a printer just coughed in confusion. Massachusetts lawmakers declined to move forward on measures that would have rolled back parts of marijuana legalization, leaving the state's cannabis framework intact for now. Supporters call it a win for voter-approved reform. Looks like Massachusetts said, we already rolled it up. We're not unrolling it. An Indiana state senator says legalization to legalize medical marijuana could be introduced in 2027. Whoa. Signaling possible movement in one of the stricter Midwest states. It's still clearly, but patients and advocates are paying attention. Indiana moving on weed, that's a slower than waiting on somebody who said, I'm leaving now 45 minutes ago. Oklahoma authorities ripped out nearly 49,000 cannabis plants tied to an alleged illegal grow operation connected to the so-called Prague weed empire. I didn't even know that existed. Did you, Ms. Weedman?
I did not.
No. Officials say that investigation is ongoing. 49,000 plants? That ain't no fucking backyard grow. That's enough flower to make trim jail feel internal. That's a lot of plants. Ohio is targeting $20 million towards campaigns warning expectant mothers about marijuana health risks while promoting youth prevention efforts. Officials say education is goal as legalization expands. Somewhere teenagers just heard, don't do this, and immediately go getting way more curious. I don't understand why do you need $20 million? Doesn't make any sense. A South Loop cannabis shop in Chicago. I know this store very well. In Chicago was hit in a pre-dawn smash and grab involving suspects in a white SUV, according to reports early Monday morning. Police are investigating the burglary and damages. Folks out there treating dispensaries like it's GTA 6 side mission, and it's not GTA. The GTA 6 is not even out yet in stores. All you gamers out there will know that joke. Mrs. Weedman has
I have no idea what you're
I'm
talking
about.
I just looked at you like, what?
Yeah, exactly.
Am I supposed to be laughing?
No, it's fine. But there will be people that will laugh at that joke.
All right. I'm going to smoke some more weed.
Please light up because
right.
You're going next.
All right. You got to talk for a minute.
I will. So Mrs. Weedman's going to be talking about the DEA to cannabis businesses. Sign here to confess your drug trafficker. And that's written by Reginald Reefer, who we admire very much on the show.
Yeah. So the story dives into a topic that's got parts of the cannabis industry raising eyebrows and maybe blood pressure. An opinion piece from cannabis.net argues that a new federal registration process tied to cannabis rescheduling may be asking businesses to do something wild. Basically, admit on paper that they've been federally violating drug laws. And yeah, people in the industry are understandably nervous. Here's the background. Following the federal shift moving state-licensed medical cannabis to Schedule III, the DEA opened a registration process for businesses that want federal recognition and benefits tied to the change. One of the biggest incentives? Relief from IRS Tax Code 280E, the rule that has blocked cannabis companies from deducting normal business expenses for years. Businesses that register could also gain stronger legal footing and broader legitimacy in the financial world. But here's where things get sticky. Of course, it's never easy, right? According to reporting highlighted in the opinion piece, the DEA application reportedly asks applicants whether people involved in the business have previously handled controlled substances without DEA authorization. It's like you might as well stab yourself.
I'm blown.
Might as well lock your doors on your store now. For cannabis operators, that's awkward because even if fully licensed by their state, they have technically been operating in conflict with federal law until now. Another question asks whether the business handles recreational marijuana, which remains federally illegal. Critics argue that answering honestly could feel like you're signing a confession form. The concern isn't just paranoia. The DEA application reportedly warns that false statements can bring penalties, including fines and times in prison, meaning businesses are stuck with a balancing act of honesty, legal risk, and opportunity. Some operators see registration as necessary to survive and grow, while others are wondering if the paperwork will create a paper trail that they may later regret. Industry lawyers are already telling companies to read every line carefully before signing. To keep this factual, though, it's important to note that the drug trafficker confession language comes from an opinion article. This isn't actually like DEA's wording. There's no evidence that the DEA is explicitly calling legal operators traffickers, but the criticism reflects a very real tension the cannabis world has dealt with for decades. Legal in many states, while illegal federally, and somehow expected to operate in both realities at once. So the bottom line, federal cannabis reform may finally be moving along, but for some operators, the fine print is starting to feel almost as important as the headlines. Because when Uncle Sam says, just sign here, the cannabis industry's first question is, what exactly am I agreeing to? Could be. I mean, think about that. Like, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
They're operating a legitimate legal business, but it is federally illegal.
Well, I've always said.
So if you have to you already documented that you own the business and it's operating, but this form, it just seems like it could come back and bite you.
I've said it. We've been saying this for years on the show. They can come in and shut it down anytime they wanted to. The feds. They did in the California time. Like they were raiding dispensaries back in the early days of med and then rec. Because some of these states were getting raided by the feds and money being taken and stuff like that and being shut down. And they can come in, until it's fully decriminalized and brought to the, like liquor and tobacco, which they'll always be in the back of my mind if the feds can come in and pop something when they want,
right.
So international news. The U.S. Coast Guard says it seized roughly 3.8 million worth of marijuana from suspected drug smuggling boat off the coast of Haiti. Authorities intercepted the vessel during patrol operation, adding another chapter of international drug enforcement efforts. Somewhere, somebody definitely looked at the ocean and said, well, there goes retirement. A young British couple could face years in Turkish prison after being arrested on allegations of cannabis smuggling while traveling abroad. Officials are investigating the case, and serious penalties could follow if convicted. International travel tip: always double-check your luggage, because souvenir shopping should never end with prison paperwork. Canada's cannabis industry is reportedly positioning itself to become a major global leader thanks to years of legalization experience, production infrastructure, and international partnerships. Industry experts believe Canada could play a huge role in future worldwide cannabis markets. Good for you, cannabis, because we've been fucking shit in the bed for so many years. You'll be the global leader in cannabis. Meanwhile, the United States has been growing cannabis forever, and we can't shit or get off the pot. Officials in the Bahamas say a licensing platform for cannabis businesses is now complete, making another step toward launching the country's regulated cannabis market. Businesses interested in participating may soon have clearer pathways forward. São Paulo, Brazil is gearing up for a major 2026 cannabis fair, bringing together businesses, advocates, researchers, and cannabis cultures under one roof. The event is expected to spotlight innovation in medical cannabis conversations. Imagine networking at a weed expo in Brazil. Business cards in one hand, snacks in the other. I want to go to São Paulo, Brazil for a cannabis talk. Wouldn't you, Miss Weedman?
Yeah.
Man,
all
that'd be
day
fun
long.
as hell. A new report highlights concerns about how cannabis industries in parts of the global south may mirror exploitative systems seen in other agricultural markets. Critics argue local communities deserve more economic benefits from legalization efforts. Nothing says global business like rich companies showing up after the locals did all the hard work first. So true. The BBC spotlighted growing conversations around cannabis policy and legalization debates internationally. As more countries rethink old drug laws and public health strategies around the world, attitudes continue shifting. At this point, global cannabis reform feels like dominoes. Some countries are sprinting, while others still can't find the first tile. Pretty good. Pretty good international news.
Very good.
I love hearing how well internationally weed is growing. It makes me smile. So, we watch TV shows, don't we?
We do.
What is one TV show that we watched today during dinner before we started recording that you like?
We were watching Summer House.
You like that show.
Yeah. It's a very important television
Yes, Mrs.
program.
Weedman likes her Bravo shows.
I just like reality TV. It's kind of like a soap opera. Nothing really happens. That's really important. So it's just good background noise. You can like pay attention for 5 minutes and then forget you're watching it. It's easy.
So tell us
That's
how.
most TV though, isn't it?
Most of the time, unless you're watching a movie or something.
Yeah.
Which I went and saw Mortal Kombat 2.
Yeah, you did.
Pretty good. So I'm a nerd. You all should know that. I'm a 53-year-old nerd.
Hey, nerd.
I am a nerd and proud of it. So, so tell us how TV shows are redefining marijuana in modern life.
Yeah. This comes from the Fresh Toast, and it looks at something kind of fascinating, how television has quietly helped reshape the way people think about cannabis. Because let's be honest, weed on TV used to mean one thing, the lazy stoner, the burnout, or somebody making terrible life choices. But according to the Fresh Toast, modern TV is telling a very different story. The article argues that cannabis has slowly moved from being the punchline to becoming part of the everyday life on screen. Instead of exaggerated stereotypes, newer shows increasingly portray cannabis users as parents, professionals, creatives, veterans, or regular adults just trying to relax after work. In many cases, marijuana, you like that marijuana? Marijuana isn't treated as shocking anymore. It's treated more like having a glass of wine at the end of the day. And there's data backing up the cultural shift. Public support for legalization has changed dramatically over time. According to national polling, U.S. support for legal cannabis has climbed from roughly 25% in the mid-1990s to around 70% today, showing a massive shift in public perception. Researchers and media analysts have long suggested entertainment plays a role in normalizing once taboo topics by making them feel familiar and less threatening. The article points to a wave of shows and documentaries that helped move cannabis into mainstream conversation, whether through humor, education, or realistic portrayals of legal cannabis culture. Instead of the old-school reefer madness vibe, audiences now see stories about medical patients, dispensary owners, legalization debates, and everyday consumers. Even reality TV and cooking shows have gotten in on the action as legal markets have expanded. Of course, TV hasn't completely ditched the comedy side of cannabis. There's still plenty of smoke-filled laughs. But the bigger shift may be a balance. Cannabis users are no longer shown as irresponsible stereotypes. In many modern storylines, they're carefully developed characters with jobs, families, and normal lives who just happen to consume weed. Television may have quietly done something lawmakers and public campaigns struggled with for decades. They've normalized the cannabis conversation. One of the biggest tools in stomping the stigma might have been sitting in our homes this whole time. The old boob tube. It's shifting opinions once again, and this time in a good way, by delivering positive truths of weed.
Love it.
Kind of cool.
We've watched a lot of good weed shows.
Yeah, we have.
Yeah.
When Vice first came out, they cranked out some really good.
Oh, yeah, some really good shows. Really good stuff.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Good stuff. I like watching TV. I don't know. I like reading books too, but TV is always. I mean,
It's
we're
just
TV
easy.
kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We are TV kids,
We
aren't we?
are. Yeah. I mean, we were like put in front of the TV.
Yeah.
We didn't have
Watch.
computers.
Yeah,
we
we
didn't have
didn't have-
iPads. We were TV kids.
Mm-hmm. Our
You
parents worked.
Yeah. So we sat in
Latchkey.
front of the TV.
Mm-hmm.
When we got home, if we didn't go outside, if it was too cold out, we were sitting in front of the boob tube.
Mm-hmm. We got to go
Yeah.
home for lunch in
Yeah.
grade school. So we got to watch extra cartoons.
You didn't watch cartoons. You watched soap operas.
No, I was making lunch. My sister was watching soap operas.
Oh, shit. Ms. Weedman,
Mr. Weedman,
that's the end of the show.
that's it.
Got anything else to say?
Have a great week, everybody. Can't believe we are well into May.
Yeah.
We just had Mother's Day, so happy Mother's Day to your moms out there. And that's it. Have a great week, everybody.
Yeah. Happy Mother's Day to all you moms out there. Hopefully you had a great, great Mother's Day and you enjoyed some life and got to living. Everybody out there, we need some love. We need some peace. We need some happiness. We love y'all out there. As Paul always says, smoke smart, puff, puff, and away.
Puff, puff, pass.
Check out our cannabis lifestyle brand online at 8decades.com. Our custom smokes and accessories are perfect for your coffee table, bedroom nightstand, or kitchen counter. They're designed for you to show them off. The Canna community is also loving our hemp and cotton blend t-shirts, sweatshirts, scarves, and hats, finished off with our 8 Decades logo. We've got some awesome long-lasting goods that will be your favorite for years to come. 8 Decades, because a 9th decade of cannabis prohibition isn't acceptable.